Hello and welcome to the last in a series of Photoshop basic tutorials. This will center on the topic of typography. In today's lesson we will explore the type and paragraph tools that Photoshop has to offer and produce a final piece that looks something like this. Okay, so let's get started. So first of all, I've opened my Photoshop document with an A4 template. Okay, I've already imported my image later on for our final. Okay, so that's already imported. If you have forgotten how to do that, please refer back to the last lessons. Okay, there is instruction on how to import your images into Photoshop if you are struggling. Okay, so but for the moment, we're just going to go back to our A4 document. Okay, just a few things to remember. Just make sure that your rulers are in place as they are there. Okay, if you can't find them, just remember, if you go to View, down to Rulers, and just make sure that little tick box is ticked. Okay, the second thing I want you to do today is just go up to Window. I just want you to go down to Character, and I just want you to click on Character, and this little toolbox here should appear. Okay, you should have Character and you should also have Paragraph. If Paragraph isn't there, again, just go up to the windows and you'll be able to find them just about there. It's got that little tick, okay? So we're just going to go back to the Character toolbox for a minute. Now this toolbox is very, very helpful when applying typography. So if you just go over to the text box here, and we just drag this out, okay, and just put some text on our page. Okay, there you go, fantastic. Okay, so with the little text box here, we've got our typeface that we've already talked about in today's lesson, okay, but we've also got our fonts, okay, so these are just the very variations of typography that we can use. Okay, as you can see, Helvetica here has light, it has regular, it has bold, it has a few different other options to go alongside it. Okay, but also we've got at the bottom here, we've got another few different things which are to do with type appearance rather than to do with the font. Okay, so you have a few different options that you can alter text within Photoshop. So you've got italics, you've got folks bold, you've got all caps. So if you wanted to create your document in all caps, this gives you the option. It gives you the option of small caps. It gives you a few different variations. It gives you line through, line underlined. Okay, you can also choose, as you can see, you can choose multiples of these. Okay, so if I just tick off this for the second, okay, and I just go over here, you can see that now the text is all underlined because we've just ticked that box. Okay, there is a few different things here. I'm just going to click that one off for the minute. We've got your point size where you can increase the point, increase the size of your text all the way up to 72. Okay, but we've also got a few different options here, things that you might not have come across before in Photoshop, and which include, we've got tracking, okay, which gives you the option of spreading your text out over a bigger space. Okay, if I take it up to 200, you can see that. You can see how in between each letters the white space is increased. Okay, this is just spreading out that text a little bit more. Okay, I understand that one or two of you have used this within your work so far. This just gives you an even option. Okay, it allows you by putting in a percentage here. Say we wanted to put 400 in, it would evenly space out the text so that the space between each character is a very specific number. Okay, that it is the correct distance between each character. So I'm just going to take that back down to 0. We've also got, you can increase the height, you can increase the vertical scale. So if I wanted to just highlight Lorem up there, okay, and then put it up to 200, the vertical scale of the type would increase. Likewise, if I went down to 50, it would decrease. I'm just going to put that back up to 100. Okie doke. Now we've also got leading here, okay? You've probably come across this in a Word document, okay? It just works like that single and double spacing that we have in Word documents, okay? You can increase the size, you can decrease the size, okay? But seeing as this, I think this was 18 point, okay? Maybe it wasn't, maybe it was 24. Okay, we'll just take it back up to, I'm just going to press back to auto and it'll take it back to normal. So yes, it was 24 point. Okay, there is also the option of horizontal scale. So we've got this here. If we wanted to put horizontal scale into our typography, we have got this one here. This is horizontal scale. Okay, so if we wanted to put 500 there, we'd increase the size of the L. Okay, that increases that size and it just makes that width a lot bigger. Okay, I'm just going to take that back. Okay, there are a few different options there. It's well worth a play around if you get a chance, okay, just to have a look at these and how you can manipulate your text and just create a little bit of contrast or create a little bit of difference within your work, which will just draw the eye a little bit more and make your work that little bit more interesting. Okay, we're just going to move on to paragraph. Okay, so up here you've got 3 little tabs. Okay, this is left align, center align, and right align. Okay, just in terms of where you want your text coming from. If you're on the right of the page and you want it right up against the margin, okay, you can right align your text, okay, just so that it just follows that left hand side. This is often used in Word documents, especially letters, for things like dates and addresses, etc., etc. So, but for the minute, I'm just going to chuck this back to left align. Okay, over here we do have justify. Okay, now justify is something that you might not have come across before now. Okay, but justify is just a clearer, more formal way of presenting your text. Okay, it just adds a little bit of white space between the letters so that the length of the lines is all equal. If I just click on the justify here, you'll see what I mean. There you go. See, all the line lengths are completely are the same size, I should say, okay, as in comparison to just the normal text here. Okay, so justify. As you can see, justify center as well, justify right, but then you've also got justify all. Okay, so it would make all the text, but pay attention to that bottom line of the text. Okay, when I press justify all, it does start to look a bit weird. Okay, it just justifies the whole text, making it one solid block of body copy. Okay, but really what we really need here is just to put it back there. Okay, there are a few different options down the bottom here. These are really helpful. Okay, I'm just going to put some more text in here just to emphasize this point. Okay, so if I go to type and then I go to paste lorem ipsum. So if I just go back to that paragraph page there, okay, we do have some options here where we can actually indent the text by a certain number. Okay, I'm just going to take that back. So that just moves the whole paragraph further inwards. Okay, it just removes it from the margin that little bit extra just to create a sense of emphasis. So I'm just going to put that back to there. We've also got the first line indent. Okay, so if you want to, you can create a first line indent. This is very good for academic text or writing letters. By indenting that text, it just emphasizes the beginning of the text that little bit more. Okay, there are a few different options there. There is also this option here, and if this is ticked, okay, what it will do is it will break up your letters. Okay, when it comes to the end of a line. So hyphenate, actually, if you can see here, Hyphenate creates this little dash where your letter will start on one line and finish on the other. Okay, hyphenate is a bit of a dread for designers. Okay, we don't particularly like hyphenation when it comes to our work. So what we tend to do is we tend to just click that hyphenate off. Okay, and that'll just make sure that your letters and your words will you will all finish on the same sentence, on the same line, I should say, not sentence. Okay, there's a few different things else that we can do. We can just get rid of that text box for a minute. We can go up here to type and we can have a look at some things like orientation. Okay, so first of all, this is horizontal, so everything's going left to right. If you click to vertical, it'll change and go downwards. Okay, there are a few students have used this for things like mastheads. Okay, this is just an easier way of using that text. Okay, I'm just gonna click that again. I'm just gonna make sure that all of this is selected when I go to type. And I'm going to go back down and just go to horizontal text there. Okay, there's another thing here that we can have a look at is we can also create a warp text. Okay, so we're just looking here. Okay, there's a few different things. What I will say before I use this is that I highly recommend against this for this particular project. Okay, it might be something that you use in future, but for this particular project, okay, there is very little room for error when it comes to warping your text. Okay, it can either look very good or it can look terrible. Okay, and I just prior warn you of this. Okay, and you'll understand what I mean when you see this. Okay, you've got a few different versions here. Okay, you can play with, you've got bulge, you've got the arch, you've got the wave, you've got the flag. Okay, there's a few different ways you can use text, but like I said, I wouldn't advise it within this project. Okay, but they are there if you want to have a play around with them. Okay, so now we're going to go back to our image. Okay, I'm just going to take this, I'm going to command copy it. I'm just going to take it over here and paste. I'm going to do that Command Z there just to take it down. And then we've got it here. Okay. So just here now, we're going to remember what we've learned in our last lessons. Okay, we're on 33% here. So that means every point here is 5%, is 5 mil, I should say. All right, we're just going to take a ruler over here and we're going to go 10 mil from the side of the document. Okay, same on this side, 10 mil from the side of the document, 10 mil from the bottom, from the top I should say. And we're also going to go down here and we're just going to go to his shoulder, in line with his shoulder there, and we're just going to put some typography there. Okay, and the same here. The reason these guides are in place, okay, will make sense shortly. Okay, I'm just going to put another one there on the 50 mil from the top marker. Okay, these guides are just going to make a little bit of sense a little bit later on. Okay, so first of all, what we can do is I'm just going to create a type box here, and this is going to be for our masthead. Okay, so I'm just going to click in there. Okay, and I'm just going to put my text in there. Okay, I'm going to click on a typography, a font, or that I would like to use. Okay, I'm just going to increase the point size up to, is 48 going to be enough? No, probably not. We're just going to take that up to 60. Okay, so we've got our masthead here. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to just chuck in our subheading. Okay, and for this, I'm just going to take the point size down to about 18, and I'm going to put in here Futura. And I tell you what, I'm going to go for, whoop, I'm going to click in here, and I'm going to condensed medium. But because I want to make sure that I am going to use Futura for my body text as well, but just so that I'm just going to make it stand out a little bit more, what I want to do is I just want to highlight that Futura there. I want to go down, I want to go over to my character profiles here, my toolbox, and I just want to click all caps. Okay, and that just makes it stand out that little bit more. Okay, so I've got my characters in there now. Okay, all right, for my designer, for my masthead, I'm just going to go back here, okay, because I don't think that it's standing out as much as I want it to. Okay, so I'm just going to go over here. I'm going to make sure that it's clicked on the layers panel here. It's just in that light gray. I'm going to go down to FX, and I'm going to go up to bevel and emboss. Now, bevel and emboss, they give you a few different options here. Okay, you can have pillow emboss, you can have stroke emboss, you can have outer bevel. These are all really good options. Okay, they're worth you having a look at. But for the purpose of this, I'm just going to put the inner bevel. I'm going to make sure that it says chisel hard here rather than smooth or chisel soft. Okay, just so that it has those crisp lines there, as you can see in our little preview. Okay, so if I press OK, now from here you probably can't see anything, so we're just going to go in a little bit, and as you can see there, you've got that little bevel there, which is creating that little bit of a 3D effect, okay, creating that little, so that it looks as if it's just capturing that light, and that's perfect for us. But I'm still not convinced, okay, so I'm just going to go down here, and I'm going to go to drop shadow, and I'm just going to put a little bit of a drop shadow on my text there. Okay, take that down a little bit, and fantastic. Okay, so now I feel quite confident with that typography. Okay, with that masthead there, I'm thinking it looks pretty good. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to look here, and I'm thinking, okay, I need to put some type around this individual. Okay, and there's a few different ways I can do this. Okay, if I wanted to be a little bit more creative, okay, there are a few different options. I can go to the pen tool here, I can click Control, I can just drag that one out, okay, and this little box appears here. Okay, and if you go down to the freeform, the pen tool is a way of creating shapes within your design. Okay, and this does give you a few options, as I'm going to show you now. Okay, but if you just click onto that freeform pen tool, okay, so you can use your type tool, the freeform type tool, to just draw a path around your object. And as you can see here, if you just hover that above and that line appears again, we can create some type. Okay, and you can keep going. Okay, that is an option of creating type around an image. There you go. So now I've created my my text here, okay, my subheading. I just want to drag down another little ruler here, just so that I can create difference now between what is my subtitle and what is going to be my body copy. Okay, I'm just going to go here to what is the pen tool. Now the pen tool is a very good tool within Photoshop. Okay, those who are on graphic communication will have used this tool quite often, and will understand that it is quite difficult to get used to at the beginning, especially when you're really pushing it to its capacity. But just for this moment, okay, we're just going to do something quite simple. I'm just going to click Control and then click on this, just so that it gives us a few different options. Okay, first of all, before we go into using the pen tool itself, I just want to use the freeform tool. Okay, freeform tool is just a way of creating a path. Okay, and a path within Photoshop is something that it can create shapes. It can also allow you to type on a particular shape. Okay, so we're just going to use this path here, and I'm just going to loosely draw a path or a line around the head of my photograph, the person within my photograph. Okay, and if I just go up here and I just hover that above that line, okay, as you can see, it can create text on the line. Okay, so you have this shape that goes around here. Okay, you have this path that goes around, and now you've got text there. Okay, that is just one way of using the pen tool. Another way is I'm just going to go back here, and I'm going to go to the pen tool, and I'm going to start creating my body copy now. And the reason why I'm using the pen tool for this is because the pen tool allows me to create a shape which I can then place text within. Okay, before I do that though, I'm just going to create a ruler over here and put it on the 100. Please join me if you're following along with this video, and then put another one here. Okay, the reason why is I just want to create a little bit of a gap between the two columns of my body copy. Okay, I don't want it to run all the way across, because once you get to the head here, you read in here and then you read in there, and it becomes a little bit more difficult. So I just want two columns, okay, for my body copy, but with that little bit of difference in between. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take that pen tool, and I'm going to click here on the corner. I'm going to drag it over here, and as you can see, we've already got a purpose made grid. I'm just going to click as I go down, okay, creating a shape. Okay, nothing too fancy, just clicking as I go. All right, go down to here, and then over to, oh, I've gone a little bit too far. I'm just going to make sure that it goes on that line there, and then take it back up here, and then I can just click in there. I can just bring that down to 12 point, which, you know, is between 8 and 12 point is really what you're doing for large body copy. If you've got smaller body copy, you can use a little bit larger if you'd like. Okay, but I'm just going to go up here because I haven't got any text. I'm just going to paste that lorem ipsum there, and as you can see, because I've created that shape, it's followed around the shape there. So we've got some text that is just wrapped around this image perfectly there. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over to the other side. I'm going to do exactly the same thing. Okay, just clicking as I go, creating those straight lines. It doesn't really matter with type. We click those straight lines, and then up we go to there, and then paste that text inside. Okay, just making sure that's on 12 point. Yes, it is. All right, I also want a few paragraphs in here just to separate the text so it doesn't look too overwhelming. Paste that lorem ipsum in. Happy days. Okay, so here I've got my image. Okay, I've got my text. I'm starting to think it's starting to look pretty good. Okay, we've got text that's running around the image. The image is the focal point of the design. Okay, we've got some nice text up here that has a little bit of contrast because of that bevel, because of that drop shadow. Okay, it does stand out a little bit more. All right, but I'm just thinking my body copy is not really enticing the viewer, okay, as much as I would like it to. So I'm just going to go over here. I'm just going to highlight that text. I'm going to go back over to our character and our paragraph tools, okay, and I'm just going to click the paragraph there, and where we've got that little indentation, that indent there, I'm just going to press it up to, I don't know, let's say 50. Let's see what that does. Is that a bit too much? Possibly. I'm going to go to 40. Okay, and what this does is this just gives me an option, okay, because what I can do now is I can go back in here and I can create another text box. Okay, so I've got my L there. I'm just going to drag this over. All right, and I'm just going to take this down a little bit, just so that it increases that size. Okay, let me just have a look here. I'm just going to take this. Okay, and there we have it. Okay, we just import that L in there. Okay, we create that extra little text box after we've indented the paragraph here, and we can just drop that L into there to just start the typography off. Okay, we can have a little bit of a play just to make sure that it looks correct. Okay, and overall, when I take away the rulers, we have created our final piece. And there we have it. Okay, thank you for listening to this video. Okay, like I say, this is the last in the lesson, and this is the last in the Photoshop lessons, I should say. Thank you for responding to these videos. I hope you've enjoyed. I hope you've learned something, and I'll speak to you shortly. Thank you very much. Cheers. Bye now.